episode 5. My name is Dan Ferullo and my co-host Jennifer Freed.
Hello, everyone.
Jen, how are you this week?
I gotta say, I'm excited to finally sit down with you and do this episode. We've been running all over town with our clients, which we love, but we've been wanting to do this all week, so I'm happy our time for recording is here.
It definitely has been one for the record books for the week. So this is Sunday. Usually we record on Wednesday. But It's just been a crazy week, and this was the only time we could fit it in, so we wanted to stay consistent and get the news out to everybody. So, yeah, here we are. So happy Sunday to everybody, or I guess it'll be Tuesday when you're seeing this.
TGIS, TGIT, all good things.
All right, so let's jump into the 3 articles that we have for you today. So this first one is an Inman article, the top 3 trends homebuyers want this season. So there are lots of homebuyers out there, and they are looking for some pretty specific things we've noticed. And so there are a couple of things that this article is pointing out that are really big for people. So if you're thinking of selling your house, think of what you have or how you can make this work for buyers that are trying to find properties.
Yeah, the trend towards minimalism is the first one. So smaller interiors are becoming more and more popular. I don't know if we can blame it on Marie Kondo and that whole show and that whole philosophy, but some folks are really looking for a more minimalist lifestyle, so much smaller space in their house.
Yes.
So out with the large houses, in with the more modest.
Yeah, definitely. Less house-centric, more lifestyle-rich. People are wanting to spend more money on what they can go and do rather than have a 7,000 square foot house, which is great. And then the second item, outdoor spaces. So buyers are turning to feature-rich homes in favor of higher square footage, like I just said. So they want to have pretty outsides, little nice hardscaping, patios, pools, those types of things. They want to live outdoors as much as they can, especially where here in New England we can really only live outdoors for, a few months out of the year.
Yeah, so things like fire pits for the fall, pools for outside, and really using the outside space as an extension of your house, almost like an outdoor room.
Yes.
We're starting to see more and more of that.
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice if we were in, say, California and we could do that all year round?
This is true, but then we'd miss ski season.
That is true, And then number 3, buyers are looking for homes enhanced with technology. So I know we've talked about technology
I know, we love it.
a few times on this podcast already, and I expect this probably isn't the last time you'll hear about it
Well,
from us.
we don't write the articles, we just read them and bring them to you. So the fact that this is a hot topic that's being written about across a lot of different publications, and we're seeing it more and more in listings, it's a thing of the now and the thing of the future.
It absolutely is. So, especially I'm a little tired today. So speaking about the first episode that we had when we were talking about saving money, this article also kind of highlights that people are trying to look for new ways of saving money, new, more energy efficient homes, that type of thing. So the more technology that's in a property, the more that they like.
Yeah, and I think people are also integrating technology into all areas of their life. So if they sign up for a Google Home system, it's not just the Google phone and maybe a smart book, but also all of the different products that Google has out there that you can integrate with your lighting, security. So they'll kind of go with a whole product line where each piece talks to each other. So that's becoming more and more popular.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, great. I love that article. So I love kind of seeing what the trends are in the different times of the year too. Sometimes it's colors, sometimes it's you just never know what it is. So it's cool to see what that stuff is. So we'll link that article up on the show notes. And then the next article is a Forbes magazine article or Forbes.com article. Yes, millennials really are buying homes. Here's how. So we hear that the millennial generation is taking a longer time.
I think that's not me, Dan.
It is. I'm
Dan,
on the cusp of being. I am a millennial.
Generation.
Yes. Yeah. So our generation, I guess it's like, 26 to 30 or 25 to 34, are kind of what they classify as millennials. But people are saying that we're taking longer to get into home ownership than the generations before us were at this time. And I think there are a few different reasons for that that they've kind of cited in the article. But also, I know personally, student debt is one reason that took me longer to get into home ownership. And then the high cost of housing also.
Yeah, rents. They work
And
both
rents,
pro
yeah.
and con. So while you're in a rental, it's harder to save to get out of the rental. But high rents are also a big motivational factor, which this article is actually kind of comforting to the people that are seeing that millennials are actually contributing a lot to the home buying market. So this is saying 37% of people 25 to 34 are owning homes, which if you read headlines of other publications, there's a lot of, well, if millennials would just start buying, it's going to put us into a more regular market. So I feel like millennials maybe have been unfairly blamed by my generation.
Absolutely.
For many things.
But there are reasons why.
But don't blame them for avocado toast. I think that's the best invention. Thanks for that, Dan.
Hey, no problem. I actually was late to like avocados. I actually really just started loving them a couple years ago. So it wasn't me particularly, but
I love that. The other thing in this article surprised me is they went through kind of the gaps in home ownership. So the Gen Xers, this is my generation, so the one right after millennials, about 60% are owning homes according to this Forbes article, but they have 75% home ownership for baby boomers, so that's my parents. And I guess we all imagine the baby boom generation is this last golden generation that's living the old school American dream, but it sounds like a quarter of them are not owning homes, and that tends to be one of the cornerstones of living the old American dream. So I was really surprised to see that statistic for baby boomers.
yeah, for sure. And the article also shows that the single biggest predictor of whether a millennial owns a home is whether they're married. If they're married, if a millennial is married, that increases their probability of being a homeowner by 18 percentage points.
I could see that. It's a legal decision, and so unless you are buying a property and seeing it as an investment and drawing up the paperwork as if it's two investors purchasing a property, I can see why a lot of people are waiting on that.
Yeah, for sure. But I think
Can be messy.
Yeah, but millennials, they're starting to jump into home ownership a little bit more now. We're starting to see quite a bit more of a jump or a surge, I guess you could say, of first-time home buyers being in the millennial generation. And a lot of times, since they have taken longer to get into the housing market, we're seeing that they work to keep their credit scores up, and they're also saving for their down payments. So they're being smart about it, which is great.
Yeah, and some of the programs are designed just for them with low or no down payment programs. And now that money is able to be borrowed at a much more reasonable rate than in past years, is actually moving people from the this is out of reach to actually I can get into this price point property to buy. So getting a lot more people from no to yes.
Yeah, for sure. This is a really fascinating article. Like I said, we'll link this one up in the show notes as well. And then on to the third article.
Oh, I like this one.
This one is fun. So this one is a local article from Seacoast Online, and the title, Portsmouth is now home to 30,000 restaurant seats.
Yum-y.
So Portsmouth has always kind of been the mecca where people flock to for going to dinner. There are more restaurant seats in Portsmouth than there are people that live in town.
Let that sink in for a second. There are more dining chairs than residents of Portsmouth.
So there are 30,615 seats in the city, and that's 8,819 more than the number of people that live there. That's a lot of.
That's amazing.
That's a lot of seats, but they're always busy.
I know. Well, and I think that's one great thing when you go downtown. You can at least go to a couple spots and eventually get into your your yummy, delicious choice for
Yes,
the
true.
evening if you don't want to
Absolutely.
wait. But I actually think what's great is that I think it's a sign of an economically healthy area.
Mm-hmm.
So I know there's been some challenges with finding enough staff for all of those organizations and finding enough affordable housing. These are some hot topics that have been written about a lot. But I think at the end of the day, we aren't summer Touristville the entire year. So the fact that we can sustain more restaurant seats than people, despite our cold temperatures and times of the year where we aren't completely flooded with tourists, is a sign of a really healthy economy around here, which bodes well really for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So what's your go-to? Where are you going to dinner?
Uh,
Or what you having? What's
I
on
like
your
street.
on your
Street's
plate?
one of my favorites. There's a chicken fried chicken sandwich with Mexican rice and avocado, and actually it has pickled onions. And generally I don't like pickled onions, but the combination is pretty amazing. So that's definitely one of my favorites to eat.
Then we can get some comments going on this thread. You can tell us where to go and
Yeah,
what to
best
eat.
restaurants.
So yeah, let us know what restaurant you like to hit up. What seat in those 30,000 seats is your favorite, and what to get, because we're always looking for a good place to go out.
Absolutely.
Now that we're done recording our podcast for the week.
Yeah, so short episode today, but this is all that we have for you. We're going to take a little bit of a rest for the afternoon, hopefully, and then we'll be right back at work tomorrow morning. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Like we said, comments, likes, we would love a like on the YouTube channel. Subscribe as well, and we will see you next week on Cut to the Chase.
All right, bye guys.